Hello. Let me say compliments of the season to all our professional colleagues and indeed all our publics. On our show, ICAN on Air segment today, indeed the last in this year 2021, we share with you a collage of our shows since we made our debut on Tuesday, December the 5th, 2021. Yeah? Truly within the 87 days to date, we have shared insights, we have shared knowledge, we have shared direction from our carefully selected guests who came on our iconic platform to share valuable time, talent, and treasure with our viewers. Please come with us as we provide snippets of their pronouncements and their directions on this last broadcast for the year. Of course, that will be with some beautiful intro by the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, the current president, the 57th president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Mrs. Comfort Eyitayo, CFE, CFA, FCAMNI, whose vivid vision brought this to bear. And I can say this to you, it has lifted a lot of our publics into better understanding of specific subject matter, political, economy, technology, just name them. Yes, we are ICAN. The same charter, new chapter. Please stay connected, stay on tune as we shall come back to you shortly with thanks, appreciation to our iconic guests. Stay put, we will soon be back.
This maiden edition of the ICAN on Air is a watershed as the Institute is setting another pace with the launch of this unique event. The objective of the ICAN on Air is to give fillip to the Institute's advocacy mandate, provide members and the public with updates on developments in the Institute, as well as extensively discuss topical issues cutting across accounting, finance, and the general economy. Permit me to quickly tell you about the program. ICAN on Air is intended to drive and showcase conversations on local, international, and global economies, analysis of topical issues, and tracing ICAN footprints in the sand of time. The aim of this program is to bring ICAN closer to both the accounting community and the non-accounting community, pointing out the areas of intersection between both. It is also intended to be a solution provider to questions on the minds of entrepreneurs and bring global economic news to the viewing of ICAN members and the wider audience. The objective of ICAN on Air include to reintroduce ICAN to the wider society, to keep the society abreast of ICAN activities, to provide expert analysis on topical issues in the society, to also increase the level of impact and significance of the Institute. We are leveraging digital platform in the delivery of this program, not just to make it a universal one, but to reconfirm ICAN's renewed commitment at expanding its digital footprint. We are poised to make ICAN great again through visible impact as we continue to provide top-notch services to our broad-based stakeholders. Our voice on relevant national issues is receiving new impetus with the launching of the ICAN on Air. This program, which would be aired twice a week, that is Tuesdays and Thursdays, is aimed at critically reviewing relevant topics in the economy and our profession. It is indeed a new dawn at ICAN. Just yesterday, we unveiled a new logo of the Institute. This shows the dynamism and flexibility of ICAN. The new logo is in response to the opportunities for growth in the accounting practice and to enliven ICAN's identity. The predominant blue color in our new logo evokes professionalism, trust, reliability, stability, depth, and vibrancy of ICAN. The green stripe at the bottom represents vitality, freshness, growth, and youthfulness. The two white stripes evoke a feeling of dynamism, integrity, transparency, and new roads leading to new places and horizons. Our new identity, in alignment with global trends, is modern, innovative, and professional. It is designed to work effortlessly across digital and physical channels. The Institute various rebranding projects would further position us as a truly global professional body. I welcome all our members and other stakeholders to a new era, even as we formally launch this unique initiative of the Institute. I thank you all for your kind attention and enjoin you all to subscribe for this innovation weekly, as it promises to be intellectually rewarding and professionally enlightening.
It doesn't matter whether the shareholders are of a particular demographic themselves, because that's not our place. You can have founders who are all from either a particular tribe or region, setting up a company, and then thinking that it will serve their best interest if they populate their board with people perhaps from the same demography as themselves, either in terms of age, in terms of gender. The truth of the matter is that the board performs better when it reflects the way society itself is configured. After all, we're men and women. 50% of the world's population is female, and beyond just the gender, it's important that as much diversity as is possible comes to bear on the board. So regardless of who the founders are or those who have set up the organization, it serves better their best interests if the board is indeed truly diverse.
When you park your car somewhere, you either use a key to lock your car or use a remote to press a button and the car locks, isn't it?
Correct.
Why do you do that?
To secure.
You drive your car into somewhere, those area boys there, and then perhaps you place a label. I mean, that's banner that's people now carry. You place it back on the screen. It says "Angels on Guard," and you drive a car full, and you wait into the teeming environment of area boys, and then you leave your car there without locking it because angels on guard. I believe you me, but how you return back to that place, you see the car again, the angels are no longer on guard. Which tells that security is part of our existence. So, and when you now have all of us living in the wires, when I mean living in the wires, our life is now conducted via the cyberspace. It becomes very crucial and demanding that my identity is not suddenly stolen by somebody else.
Right. Okay.
No matter how careful you are, and I say it again, there's no system that has a foolproof security. The only thing you pray for is don't let the bad guys remember where you are. Remember you, and they decide to deal with you. a matter of time. They will break you down. So data security, cybersecurity or data protection is not only necessary, but also it gives us that confidence that we are not exposed. I can, you see, for example, so many people are not able to tell how old they are in the public. They are conscious of the fact that I don't want people to know. Let alone when you now have a profile of yourself that is now being kept in a certain format that only those who have the ability, they live in the comfort zone. Let me use that word. They live in the comfort zone. Those who live in that comfort zone, we have the skill and ability to penetrate that environment and then unravel or even steal your person and use it to also conduct activities that could also be negative or positive, benefit them positively, benefiting you negatively.
Because to a large extent, what you find happening is that mental health is stigmatized all over the world. And a lot's been done to ensure that we destigmatize. But having done all that we have done, stigma still remains. So I guess it's just a bit of stigma that makes people feel that if you were to come to the neuropsychiatric hospital, you had very serious mental health issues, and it was quite unfortunate. But the truth is, there are a number of reasons why people can develop psychological problems, and to find a place where they can get help is good news to them.
Oh, super point.
To that extent, I think we've been able to regard what we do as helping mankind. Yes. The phenomenon of burnout is a syndrome that is a collection of symptoms that is born out of workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. And it comprises three key features. The first one is that the individual experiences feelings of exhaustion and energy depletion. So you just feel like you have no energy to go on.
I'm going to start by saying that it is not true that Nigeria did not have did not have at least an attempt at inculcating a rescue culture in Nigeria. We did have that. We just didn't practice it as we should have. Now, what CAMA 2020 has done has been to introduce new tools into the arsenal of a company that is in trouble, or into the toolbox of a practitioner that seeks to rescue a company. Now, the goal of corporate rescue really is to maximize value. And maximize value for whom? It's to maximize value for the body of stakeholders that are implicated in the insolvency of the company. Now, in Nigeria, we introduced provisions such as administration that we find in Chapter 18. We introduced company voluntary arrangements, which we find in Chapter 17. And we also introduced the revised schemes of arrangement procedure, which we find much later in the Act, and introduced a moratorium into that schemes of arrangement to ensure that the company has some protection. Now, when we talk about the maximization of value and we talk about stakeholders, it's important to unpack these terms, because each of these terms means different things in different countries. So when we talk about value in relation to stakeholders, well, each stakeholder has the things that they want. So when we talk about the owners of the company, value for them would be preserving the company, or at least its business, and ensuring that they still have a stake in the rescued entity. Now, when we talk about value for unsecured creditors, we're looking for them to pay them some of the money that they are owed, but to ensure that we have much more, to ensure that we have an entity that continues after the rescue, that they can continue to transact with. Of course, a secured lender would also have an interest in a business or a company to continue to transact with. Now, globally, there are different approaches to value maximization and the preservation of the interests of stakeholders. The US is deemed to favor the company and its owners. And so, at least in principle, the way that their system is structured is what is known as the debtor in possession, which means that the company itself goes into the procedure and comes out the other end. In practice, that may not always happen, but at least that's the general idea. Now, the UK, which we closely mirror, favors creditors. And so you'd find, when I was talking about PEBEC and talking about strengthening the position of creditors, the World Bank also, in its own global principles, talks about strengthening the position of creditors. That's a very UK-esque language. And so what we find in Nigeria is that we have towed the UK's line, which has been to maximize interest in favor of the body of creditors. That means both secured and unsecured creditors. Now, the one additional thing I would say about Nigeria is this: we seem to favor, without expressly stating that, the interest of the fixed charge holder. Now, that portends some challenges for us, because a fixed charge holder is usually a concentrated creditor with lots of powers, and they have the opportunity to tank the rescue that we're trying to achieve. Now, the way that we have created our law has slipped into different places the interests and the protection of the interest of the fixed charge holder, which we should look more into. But the goal really is to try to ensure that the company, or at least its business, comes out the other end. That's the notion of corporate rescue.
As parties, we have been clamoring for changes to the tax law for so many years. So when this eventually happened in 2019, we were all very excited. And we're also very happy that it has been sustained, at least for now, the third year running. So the implication, I think overall, has been very positive, both in terms of the tax system as well as the economy as a whole. And if I just look at a few areas, so if you think about ease of paying taxes, so we've had provisions such as the one allowing taxpayers to exchange information with the tax authority online, even including emails. So that may sound like something very trivial, but in terms of the burden of compliance, that is significant. So I don't have to get into traffic and spend 4 hours just to go and drop a letter. I can now send via email. We also have provisions allowing the tax appeal tribunal to do virtual hearing. So you don't have to physically go to another state or another city to have dispute resolution, discussed and addressed with respect to tax matters. So this has been possible. In terms of higher revenue, you will remember that in the 2019 Finance Act, the VAT rate was increased to 7.5%, and some exemptions were provided. So this has resulted in VAT, for example, as of last year, became the number one tax yielding revenue head in Nigeria, displacing companies income tax and even petroleum profit tax act. So to that, a large extent, we have seen some movement and impact for revenue generation. We have seen government trying to protect small businesses. We had the exemption for small businesses for VAT and CIT if their turnover was not more than 25 million, and even minimum wage was exempted from personal income tax last year. We have seen issues around equity and fairness, especially to do with the insurance sector, as well as elimination of excess dividend tax. This is the way that government make the company pay tax over and over again, even when they have paid the tax, declaring their dividend, they have to pay another tax again. And it has also allowed government to respond to emergency issues like COVID-19, where government reduced the minimum tax rate from 0.5% to 0.2%, and we've seen introduction of new instruments in the capital market, like security lending. We have seen a tax regime for real estate investment trust, and we've seen changes to procurement law and fiscal responsibility. Overall, I think it's been very good for the tax system and the economy.
Looking at money laundering, really, let me start by talking about giving a bit of a background. The world we live in today, can actually be described as a world full of criminality. So we have a whole lot of criminal enterprises, criminal organizations, individuals who are engaged in one form of crime or the other. And these criminals, make a whole lot of money. And money made from crime can actually, or most times we describe that as ill-gotten wealth. Now, no one wants his or her money to be described as ill-gotten wealth. So that is what informs these criminals. When they make this money, they take a lot of steps to make sure that they clean out this money, because this money they make from criminal activities is what we describe as dirty money in quote. So they wouldn't want their money to be described as ill-gotten wealth. They wouldn't want the law enforcement agencies to track them easily. So they try to indulge in this process of money laundering, which is actually targeted at cleaning up the money and making the proceed of crime more, usable.
Quite the same. It's not quite the same as cryptocurrency, but it's also related to fiat money. Fiat currency is essentially, money that commands the value that the state or the government says it commands. So almost every currency that's backed by the central bank today is fiat currency. The naira is a fiat currency. The dollar is a fiat currency. However, within fiat currencies, you also have electronic money. Like right now, I say that the naira is quite digitized already because some of the achievements that we have attained in Nigeria with the naira, in some countries, even some of the developed countries abroad, they haven't attained such possibilities as well. Maybe they don't think it's necessary. For example, if you went to, the last time I was in the UAE, you can't transfer money by USSD there and all of that, So here we've done quite a bit. So naira is quite digitized. That money you see on your phone that you can transfer from your phone, that getting on your laptop and sending money to your friend using your bank app, that is digital money. But it's not crypto per se in full. Now, because where the crypto is coming from is that cryptocurrency is essentially secret currency. I mean, the word crypto means secret, as it were. Something that's actually encrypted, so that people will not see what's going on. And it's so because the people who came together to form cryptocurrencies, where they are coming from and their vision is that they intended to find something to replace the fiat currencies, whether digital or physical. They intended to replace that as a fallout of the global financial crisis of 2007, 2008. Into 2010, they believed that the central banks were too much in bed with the investment banks. I'm talking of even in the US and elsewhere, that they were too much, and that they allowed the investment banks, who at that time there was some fallout of what they call collateralized debt obligations and credit default swaps. Trillions of dollars were lost. Okay, and because of that, they said, look, guys, let's come together and create our own currency that we will administer among ourselves, secretly among ourselves, using distributed ledger, blockchain, and what have you, and that will not have any input from the central bank or any government.
There was impact from the point of view of the macroeconomic environment, and this was transmitted largely through the collapse of commodity prices. It affected our foreign reserves. It affected the capacity to fund the foreign exchange market. It led to sharp depreciation in the currency, and this had a serious, significant pass-through effects across all sectors. As we speak, we have not yet recovered from that. And of course, we had issues impact on the global supply chains, which was heavily disrupted, which affected access to raw materials and all of that. And because of the response mechanisms, like various governments, we had the locking down of some sectors, restrictions, and all of that. And eventually, this drove the economy into a very serious recession. But the good thing is that at least we are gradually getting out of it. The situation now is not as bad as the situation this time last year. The economy is beginning to record some very impressive growth. We exited recession first quarter of 2020. We did slightly better in the first quarter of 2021. And in second quarter of 2022, we had a 5% GDP growth, which was unexpected. So things are getting better. I think we can now begin to feel a lot more comfortable, even though there are still quite a lot that we need to do, both at the macro level and also at the micro level.
Thank you for staying on. And from the first set of collage that we had with those salvo openers by our iconic president, talking about that our ICAN, the new ICAN, is going to make and raise level of discourse in virtually the political, economic, finance, technology, controls, and that our footprints were going to be on the sand of time. A watershed, she called it. And I'm saying that under her presidency, the new ICAN, which a day previous, our debut on October 5, 2021, unveiled the logo, the green, the blue, the white, professionalism, which the blue represented, the trust and stability, and of course, resilient. The white was talking about our diversity, and then the green, looking at aspects of integrity. And by the time Mrs. B.C. Adeyemi came in and made a clear statement, founders must encourage and obey diversity. You need not necessarily populate your board with people you know. Get into the area of gender sensitivity. Dr. Greg Ezeilo, who came in and was talking about cyber attack, security cyber attack, was talking about that it's no more this area of angels on guard. Angels on guard, you must do your father, grandfather, son controls to make sure that at all times the cyber attackers, the phishing attackers, they are always a step ahead. And so we must always make sure that we control that. When Professor Adebola was coming in and was talking about rescue, Nigeria, we have semblance of rescue, but toolkits have now been developed to now raise that to the bar so that we maximize value for all stakeholders. Taiwo Oyedele came in and was talking about that tax administration improving. Yes, it may be slow, it may be steady, but it's beginning to ease. Making sure that revenue enhancement through the 7.5%, VAT, even though with exemption, is helping revenue of the government. Dr. Adegboyega said stress must be control. We must maximize it. When Dr. Muda Yusuf was saying, COVID affected us with a lot of disruption, both global and local, yet to come out of it. But gradually, we are trying to find our feet. But a lot still has to be done. And of course, Mr. Ezeribe, FCA, was clear in saying to us, ill-gotten wealth is all over us. We must make sure, and just like Dr. Fasua, Tope Fasua said, we in Naira is the nearest fiat currency that we can, not exactly crypto, but at least it's going to make ease of doing business a thing of the past. I'd like you to please hang on, stay put. We are going to come back very shortly with another set of collage of our first grade, best in class guests that we lined up to have given an enhanced knowledge. Stay on, stay connected. We will be back with you shortly.
Number one is that yes, the annual budget, yes, we call it a ratio, quite all right, actually provides an opportunity for citizens to hold the government to account, simply because the budget is a law. Once the president signs the budget passed by the National Assembly, it becomes law, which means on the grounds of that, citizens can actually engage the government and hold the key government functionaries accountable. Now, to your second question, who verified the performance claims? Well, we put it from two perspectives. One is that under the FOI, that is, Financial Information Act, every citizen has a legal right to demand for information and data to verify those claims. But the question again will be, do we really have the time to do that while we are still running our own businesses, running our institutions, and wherever we find ourselves within the economy? So in which case, then, the key person also legally empowered to do that is the Auditor General, who now will, at the end of the year, also verify those claims and numbers and confirm to us whether we ended with either a surplus or deficit fiscal operations. Now, talking about budget 2021 and how far, clearly, in terms of operations, we have not performed to par from what the president, presented to the National Assembly. Because if you look at the numbers, we are behind in terms of revenue, and of course, also ahead of projected deficit. Okay, so when you take all of this together, the question is, yes, we are progressing as expected. Some interesting metrics too, where production at 1.7 million barrels per day as at end of July this year is already ahead of the budget of 1.6 for the year. All right, so that should be good news. Same thing goes for the price of crude oil, in the sense that the actual price of crude oil is also running much higher than what we budgeted at $40 per barrel for this year. In fact, I checked this afternoon, Bonnie Light was going for $82.54 per barrel, as at about 1:30 this afternoon. So which means Nigeria has no problem with revenues, so to say, relating to oil that accounted for 89.44% of our foreign trade in the first half of the year. So it means then that the issue is somewhere else, in my own estimation.
You are talking about debt stock and debt ratio to GDP.
Yes.
Nigeria's debt stock is not the problem. Nigeria's debt ratio to GDP is not a problem. So we had better be, careful in identifying what the problem is. Nigeria does not have a debt stock issue. 35 trillion naira debt for an economy that is 150 trillion.
35
about 20%.
35 billion US dollars. 35 billion US dollars.
In a 400 billion economy is less, is even small, So the debt stock is not the issue. and the ratio of the debt to the GDP is not the issue. The issue for Nigeria is the high debt costs. The whole world borrows. The whole world borrows. Right now, the world GDP is about $90 trillion. But the world debt stock is $300 trillion. So the ratio of world debt stock to world GDP is 360%. And it's not a problem. It is how you borrow. It's not the fact of you having debt. It's not the fact of your debt, the size of your debt or ratio to GDP means nothing, by the way. It's how much you pay to contract the debt. So countries that know how to borrow actually borrow interest-free. And countries that do not know how to borrow not just the issue interest-paying debt, but the issue the most expensive type of interest-paying debt. So we are better, be clear about what the problem Nigeria should be solving is. We all know that Nigeria's revenue base is low, but it's compounded by the fact that the little debt that we owe, a debt that is just maybe 10-20% of GDP that we owe, drains the
framework that provides the direction of travel, for a tax system, in terms of, okay, what should be the complexion, what should be the coloration of the tax system? Again, what should we expect in terms of reforms that could be evolving, from time to time within the tax system? It's not a law by itself, but it provides a framework further to which tax legislation could be enacted, and tax administration will also be established. So in 2017, in that tax policy, the federal government articulated the canons of taxation, the canons of a good tax system, and as accepted in Nigeria. There's a canon of certainties, a canon of convenience, a canon of economy, and also canon of equity. So these are principles that a good tax system must satisfy. And from time to time, we see what government is putting in place in order to ensure that our tax system meets those criteria. Also, the policy stated that taxation will be used as an instrument for economic development of the country. Because it's will not be able to do at the same time. So one of the critical way out for us is how to rethink the deployment of technology in such a manner that we can bring in all of the businesses and potential taxpayers that are not within the mainstream yet.
You are right. The World Bank was the government of Nigeria, the federal government of Nigeria, signed agreement with the World Bank in 2004. And also, when we also look at the other segment of the PFM report, like the TS.
Oh, yes. We've said a big thank you to a whooping 20 of our guests. Thank you, thank you, thank you will not be enough. And of course, our online participants. We read you right. We'll continue in year 2021. In fact, the next episode is going to be January 4, 2022. We continue in 2022, and then the topic will be, reforms in the financial sector, the role of fintech. Our guest will be Mrs. Folashade Femi Lawal, a senior fintech personnel. We are going to unveil her more. Let me quickly leave you with this quotation. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. That is Ben Franklin. See you next year, 2022, by special grace, with a promise that we will continue to lift the bar. Like I say, be the change that you would like to see. I remain Akifatunke, your anchor, ICAN on Air. See you next year. Bye for now.